Well, it looks like Stingray's career may well be over. This in a week where Darth Vader died and a sculptor confused Queen Elizabeth II with Gollum has tipped me well and truly over the edge. Hey, at least we've got the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix to cap off the season, around a track which birthed this series in the first place. Wait, what do you mean they've changed it? Indycar would instead return to the Nashville Superspeedway to wrap up the 2024 championship and see who out of Chip Ganassi's Alex Palou and Penske's Will Power would throw it away first. Now, I don't think I meant to swear for the first 2 minutes of the video, so given I've broken that rule in the first 3 seconds, we're likely not making a lot out of this one. So if you end up enjoying, a like on the video and a sub to the channel would really help me out. Now, with that last bit of grovelling out of the way, let's get into the comedy review. It's the Music City Grand Prix. This weekend marks the end of NBC's tenure broadcasting the sport, an era which began in 2009. If you were wondering what that looks like, apparently some cross between Transformers and the fucking Power Rangers. We'd also get some more news on the driver front, as Santino Ferrucci was confirmed to be returning to the AJ Foyt fold for 2025. That means poor Stingray now looks to be without a seat, though in fairness, Dr. Rob here didn't seem all that bothered. He was off making Christian Lundgaard very jealous. That said, I'm glad our boy at least didn't visit the branch in Springfield. I've heard they'd turned that one into a restaurant. Let's get on with opening practice then. Catherine Legg remained in the Dale Coyne car for this weekend and was complaining about the car hitting and then not hitting. I'll be honest, I don't know what that means, but Nolan Seagull was definitely hitting the wall, and that was his session done. The young McLaren driver discovered a new gimmick for the IndyCar finale, which I'm going to call the death bump because it's a bump which causes death. Seagull came over the radio to say, quote, "It's not what I was trying to do." Yeah, no shit. The death bump almost claimed a second victim in the form of Joseph Newgarden. He's the only Penske technically not in the title hunt. I say technically because Scott McLaughlin is theoretically still in contention, though won't be as long as Alex Palou starts the race on Sunday. The driver of the 33s has thus spent the week not training but trying to plot the Spaniard's murder over on Twitter. Unfortunately for the Kiwi, Palou would rock up in Nashville well and truly alive, topping opening practice from Herter and Dixon. Qualifying then would see Christian Rasmussen on fire. Literally, not in terms of pace, though that should be obvious given I'm talking about Christian Rasmussen. That took attention away from a rather good lap by Stingray Rob, until his 41 shit itself and relegated the GOAT to the back of the grid. Its new owner for 2025, David Malukas, was looking a lot better, topping the timing screens in the early stages. Connor Daly was up there too, surviving a wobble at the death bump to put in a lap time good enough for row 4 at the end of the day. Rossi, in his last race for McLaren, had his own meet and greet with the death bump, surviving, though it did ruin his qualifying effort. That saw attention swing to the man who replaced him at Andretti, Carl Kirkwood, as he went fastest of anyone with only a few cars left to run. Realistically, we only cared about 2 of those, being of course our title protagonists. Power's lap was solid enough to put him on the second row, while Palou had an absolute shocker. Ganassi continuing to excel at ovals in the same way that I excel at not being shaped like an oval. To make matters worse for the championship leader, he was due an unscheduled engine change, meaning a 9-place grid drop, forcing the 10 car to start 24th in the season finale. Before that, we had one more session of practice, or at least we would have if God's piss hadn't come to play. By the time the track was safe and dry, night had descended on Tennessee. That gave us plenty of time to mull over the championship picture and figure out exactly what the David Malukas is doing here. Well, whatever it was, it helped the Meyer Shank man slot into P2 come the end of the session, notable for Alex Rossi shitting himself and the death bump claiming the pole sitter's suspension. Kirkwood would go around and hit the wall with just a handful of minutes remaining, calling into question whether the death bump was even safe to throw 27 Indy cars around, especially when you consider who we have in this field. It was about time then to get to the final race of the season. But first, the invocation. Boogity, 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 what the was that? Kirkwood would lead the field to green then, with Joseph Newgarden in hot pursuit. He was trying to make the high line work, giving us some great side-by-side action over the first 3 laps. On the subject of the number 3, that's where Will Power was, climbing up onto the provisional rostrum and giving him a shot at the title provided things went wrong for Palou behind. Things weren't going wrong for Palou behind, however. In fact, they were going rather well. The Spaniard was up a whole host of places at the start, and things were about to get even better, as Will Power was spotted entering the pits on lap 13. Either Penske had gone senile, or there was a problem. Or Power wanted wanking off? Hang on, what is happening here? The 12 driver's seatbelt had come undone early into the running, and while I'm sure David Malukas might have enjoyed the sight of Power being ejected from his cockpit like something designed by SpaceX, this presented a very dangerous situation, and Power really wanted that hand job. There you have it though, the 2024 championship decided by a f***ing seatbelt. Anyway, at least this was Indycar, so it wasn't long before a car was in the wall and the yellows came out to play. The perpetrator this time was the Meyer Shank of Rosenquist, who had just got a multi-year extension with the team, thanking them by hosting an after-work party where they pieced his Indycar back together like an 1,000-piece jigsaw. Also, if you watch from Herta's POV, you can see the exact moment Felix himself. Newgarden would cycle to the lead in the pit stops and lead Herta and Malukas on lap 68. Little Dave was hounding Colton's arsehole over the initial restart laps, while further back, the Nashville Superspeedway did us all a favour by wiping Catherine Legg out of the action, even kindly splitting her Dale Coyne car into the infield so it can be easily collected by the AMR safety team. The caution was still out though, triggering another round of stops. Alex Rossi wasn't interested in this however, and went off strategy to lead the field to green at the restart. Did this call have any legs? Well, honestly, this is IndyCar, and I don't think anyone understands how strategy works over there. Rossi was just going to put his foot down and pray he ended up somewhere high come the end of the race. We had a fair way to go before that however, and with this being the last Grand Prix of the season, Kirkwood and Simpson were keen to get one last bit of contact in before the winter. They both survived this incident, as did Scott McLaughlin, when he was caught thinking too much about second in the championship and not enough about keeping his car out of the concrete wall. Now they say things come in threes, but when one of them is Marcus Ericsson, we're not exactly expecting him to have the talent to keep it out of the barriers. Marcus had just been told that he had a long way to go on his set of tyres. Clearly, this was lost in translation when the Swede went a long way up the track to the point where he was practically in the parking lot. Funnily enough, that was him done for the day. The third and final caution ended with O'Ward now leading the pack, though needing to make an extra pit stop. That left the real battle for the lead between Newgarden, Malukas and Herta, Little Dave taking the early advantage before Colton snatched things back with 50 laps still to go. That gave us 50 laps for Herta to throw his Andretti into the wall, and while we waited for that inevitable bottle, attention turned to Will Power, who was now ahead of Palou. If he wasn't 5 laps down, and I want to f***ing kill myself. On the subject of suicide, that's what the other two Penske's looked to be doing, going side by side for the coveted position of 10th in the closing stages. Newgarden would win this battle, even overcoming the might of the death bump to get ahead. Back at the front though, when suddenly things were looking a hell of a lot different. Those who thought they were safe now had to box again, and Herta needed to pass an undercutting Pato O'Ward if he wants to take home his first victory on an oval. The pair were darting around cars left and right, but the McLaren looked comfortable. There was only one man who could save Herta now. In what might be his last race in the series, Stingray came to the rescue. Colton Herta would finally win his first oval in his backyard as well. Meanwhile, Palou came across to win the series championship, but I was overruled that by lap 13. Congratulations to Alex, of course, but I still can't believe we were robbed of a title battle due to a loose seatbelt. You know what? I bet it was this guy's fault.
Boogity, boogity, boogity,
As Herta and Palou proceeded to murder their engines, all the action was cut short by some breaking news. Someone's apparently tried to assassinate Trump again. You know what? I don't think America do need gun laws in the end. You guys can't seem to actually hit anything, can you? Even if the target is a big orange man. Back to IndyCar though, when this brings to an end yet another fantastic season. It might have started slow, but in the end, it had its moments. The introduction of the hybrid system, the return of Milwaukee, Georgina. Yeah, we can't forget about Georgina. The comedy review will of course be back in 2025, but I want to say a huge thank you for all of the support on the series this year. If you enjoyed this video, a like and sub to the channel would really mean a lot to help it grow. And of course, a huge thank you to all the members and patrons who have gotten early previews of these all year. Head to the links down below if you're interested. I, of course, still have the F1 season to wrap up, and even after that, I'm sure I'll find something to waffle on about, so don't go anywhere. I'll be back very soon then with another video, but until that point, have a good one.